Welcome back to Hush Hush Taboo Talks with Juju and Shay. I'm Shay.
And I'm Juju.
And hey, we're back. Another 2023 episode, right?
Yes, the
So,
third.
yeah, the third. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Three is a good number.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
333. Remember we saw that earlier.
That's right. We sure did. So a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this episode is going to be about just self-love and love in general. And, just bringing up the season of love. I feel like Valentine's Day, but I feel like we have to celebrate love 365 days, 24/7, right?
We done spoke about holidays and the legitimacy or not of holidays.
Right.
And making them holy days.
Right.
Self-love, love, all of those qualities that represent and characterize Valentine's Day should be lived and practiced year-round. Also, Black History Month. I don't know if I mentioned that or if we mentioned that last time, but I don't consider that a holiday either. It's a Black History lifestyle and lifetime for me.
Yeah.
And I'm always learning about stuff that was omitted from what was called my education.
Right.
So, there's no. I don't put this in terms of like linear time restraints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel like we'll have this we should do a whole nother episode on that. But, Black History Month is not 28 days, it's 365, 24/7. So, for me.
All of it.
So, being black is a celebration all year round.
Yes.
But we have to celebrate love all year round. And I feel like bringing in self-love into the new year is definitely crucial to protect your peace and your mental health in general.
Mm-hmm. All of the health, a holistic sense of health.
Yes.
Mental, physical, emotional, all of the above. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so love is a 365 or however many days there are, because I'm just finding out that that's wrong too. But or there's other information. But yeah, so this can kind of parenthetically serve as a spiritual journey part 3, because inherent in a legitimate spiritual journey would be love. Like that energy should be flowing throughout all the while.
Absolutely.
And I don't believe in much that's permanent. I don't believe that many things are fixed. I think everything is dynamic, and most things are dynamic and liable to change. But love is one of those things that I have to believe is eternal and ongoing. And it's dynamic as well. So it can be rocky and rough, and it can look different and feel different for everyone, but it should ideally be there underlying the whole time, at least underlying.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And also, I feel like love, to me, I'm speaking, is more of an internal thing. That, like you said, it should be carried with you all the time. We should not look for love from outer, exterior sources. It should always come from within.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever we don't feel loved, it's because we have to look from within. We have to love ourselves first. Self-love has to be a priority in your life for anything you do.
Mm-hmm.
If you're alone this year for Valentine's Day, you're not alone. You're with yourself. Go out by yourself, girl. Treat yourself out. Do a self-care bath or whatever the case. However you celebrate your self-care and self-love, do what you have to do to make yourself feel better about yourself. Because we're never alone and we're never unloved. As long as you love yourself, love is going to always be there. And that's period. And I had to learn that the hard way. I'm learning that as time goes on. When in my younger years, I looked for external things, my outside circumstances, my surroundings to provide me with love, and that ended me in toxic situations and toxic relationships and so forth and so forth. And as growing into this, my higher self that I am in love with now, I realized ain't no other love greater than myself. Hello.
The greatest love of all.
The greatest love of all, Whitney Houston.
Inside
Hello.
of me. Love of self, love
Come
for
on.
self.
Yeah.
Not in a narcissistic way, but in
No.
a self-preservation way. A
full.
self-preserving way. In a whole way, because you can't give from an empty cup, as we have said before.
That part, absolutely.
And that's if you are inclined to give it too, because if it's given with animosity or ill will, it's not really a gift.
Yes.
Gifts should be as altruistic as altruism exists.
Yes.
If altruism exists, the gifts should be altruistic.
Yes, absolutely.
I like that too, falling in love with yourself. And Eartha Kitt said that too. She wants to fall in love with herself, and she wants someone to share that with, and then she wants them to fall in love with themselves too, and to witness that, so that they're witnessing each other tap into further love for themselves, and then hence the love for each other would be enhanced.
Yes, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she said it. It's kind of it's intricate if you break it up bit by bit, it makes sense. Watering your own plant, and then going to a nursery that whose plants are also watering themselves. So everyone's self-sustaining and nourished,
Right.
and no one's taking too much or giving too much, or symbiosis.
Right.
Yeah, but
Right.
first, like you said, it comes from self-love,
It
liking
has to
and
be.
loving the person you are.
You are.
Also liking the
Oh, and
environment
becoming.
that you create for yourself.
Right.
And it's usually an ongoing, I don't want to say struggle, but it's dynamic. So some days are better than others. But to also bring yourself where you are, like to be safe in your own environment, in your own sanctuary, but to be your own safety. So, because wherever you go, there you are. So to love all of you, like the body as well, because whether we're here or some other country, there's probably going to be this and that to deal with, and the insecurities are going to be other, we're going to come across other entities with insecurities that project onto us, and I guess we'll go with our own insecurities too, but the point is to establish yourself as a home base and to bring that with you.
Right.
And even if you don't think you're okay, to know that you are.
Right. And
Which is love.
Yeah, it is. But even to get to that level of love, to love yourself fully, to get to that full potential of love for yourself, let's be honest and let's be true to ourselves by taking accountability. That's one. If you want a self-healing, self-love, self-spiritual journey, whatever journey you're on, take accountability for your actions and for the things that you have done. Do some shadow work. 2, look deep, dark, and within, and get that demon out that you have to get out. If you have to get that demonic spirit out of you in order to love yourself, you have to do it. You have to look within yourself, the deep, the dark, and the ugly, and that's all a part of shadow work. And you have to take accountability, and you have to acknowledge the person that you don't want to be in the future, to love yourself in the person that you're becoming. In
Right.
order to, it's like a snake. You know how snakes, they shed their skin, their dead skin, and they keep moving forward with pretty shiny moving skin, pretty skin after they shed it off. Shed off all that dead skin and do your mindful work, and because you cannot love yourself if you can't acknowledge who you are or who you were. And who
Love
you
implies
don't,
understanding.
and who you don't want to be, because we're constantly growing. And I'm like, oh, I was that person when I was 21 years old. Yeah, I was, but I acknowledge her. I don't hate her, but I acknowledge her and I take accountability for her.
Accountability.
But if I'm the person who I am today, that's why I love who I am today, because I know her. And I took accountability for who I was, and I did my shadow work moving forward. And I know I don't want to become that person again.
And well, love is genuine and honest, so for it to be legitimate, it has to be honest and straightforward with itself too.
If
the
it's
person
legitimate.
who is doing the loving. I do want to say this really quick. Speaking of love, let's do a little self-love. I want to retract from the previous episode. I misspoke. I said that we were 75% more prolific. That's not the case, and I think y'all got it. But I need to say it right, out of self-love and love for the establishment that we have going. We were more prolific than 75% of our peers in our specific category. That's what I meant to say. And by golly, I'll say it again, and I'll say it the right way the first time, because that's an achievement. So that means that 25% of the population of our peers was more prolific. And we missed the first quarter. We were only active during the last 3 quarters of the year. So had we the whole year, we probably would have been more prolific. But it had just been birthed in the spring. So I do want to say that from about our love of labor, our labor of love, I should say. Yeah, yes. I don't necessarily love labor, but that's a labor of love. Yeah. I love this labor, if you want to call it that. But yeah, So being accountable, being transparent,
Being genuine.
it's not real love or growth if it's not.
It's not real
genuine.
love if you don't love yourself. You can't love anybody else. You can't say, oh, I have so much love for her, or oh, I have so much love for him, and you don't have love for yourself. If you don't have love for yourself first, baby girl, baby boy, it's not genuine and it's not authentic and it's not coming from an authentic place. And people can see that when you don't have love for yourself. People can literally see that. It's the way you carry yourself. It's the way you speak to others and how you treat others and how you treat yourself. It's all a circle.
And how you
know?
make them feel. I think
And how you
Dr.
absolutely.
Dr. Mother Maya Angelou, I think she was the one to say, people don't remember necessarily how much money you gave them or owed them or this or that. They remember how you make them feel. And I'm like, yep. And of course an artist is going to work with feeling. The fine arts have to do with feeling. But I haven't heard truer words than that. Truer words have not been said.
Yes.
So
I
yeah.
love you in your clothes. Your
I
clothes,
just,
it's meshed
I'm
all
a
the
nerd.
time together.
I have to. There's a lot up here, so something's gonna be relevant. I'm glad. I'm glad I'm putting it to use. I also watch Jeopardy, so
Right.
sometimes I'll be winning, but you know, yeah, no, that all makes sense.
but it's true.
Yeah.
It's definitely true. I say we have to come from a happy place within in order to bring light into other people's lives and to bring happiness into other people's lives. Like you said, if your glass is overflowing, you can't run on an empty tank. That's what I'm saying. And in whatever you do, you have to be genuine.
And if it's overflowing, I get to decide where it spills over into. I might need a wellspring, what do you call it? I might need some storage for myself to tap into for later. I might not want to be so willy-nilly in how I generously dole out what I have accumulated for myself, which is inevitably in service to other people too.
Yeah,
That's
true.
when I speak for myself.
Yeah, because when it runs over,
get to decide
sometimes it does.
So how to identify and know legit love? I feel like it's a feeling. Just to go back to Dr. Mother Maya Angelou, I feel like you know it when it feels good. And remember, I had said that Katharine Hepburn said, it feels good to do good, and if it feels good to do bad, then you're mentally ill. Then y'all mentally diseased, is how she put it. So I feel like you know that when you know it. And also if you trick yourself into believing lies and into believing that you're giving legitimate love or you're receiving legitimate love, you know that that's a lie. You know that you're tricking yourself because it just doesn't feel. And I don't even think you need a point of reference. I don't even think you had to have. It helps to have had a legitimate example of good love, but I don't think you need that if you're in tune with yourself and if you know how you feel and you know your experience. It's not supposed to feel outrageous and atrocious all the time. It has its ups and downs, but it's not supposed to be hellacious. For me, that's coming from fear. That's coming from the opposite end of the spectrum.
That's coming from a toxic place.
Right.
There's so many
and there's toxic love too, but
is.
I hesitate to call that love.
It's not love at all. It's what people think that they're worthy of. I feel like if you're stuck in a toxic place, that still comes back to self-love and what you're worthy of. And we all been there before. Like I said, I know I did not love myself to the fullest of my capabilities in my earlier years, and that's why I was put into toxic situations that we call toxic love, because we think, hey, this is all I'm deserving of, and
it becomes normalized.
It becomes normalized.
And if it's less bad, then that means it's good, which is not the case.
Right. And even toxic friendships. If you have to argue with if you have to argue with a friend literally every day, or like you
can go to work and argue with people. That's called a customer service job. That's what that's called. But the thing about that is you get paid.
At least you get paid for arguing with
perhaps
people.
Not your worth, but you're getting something.
Right.
The friendship thing, or the any relationship besides business, I suppose, is elected. You choose to do that. You opt in or you don't.
Yeah.
So
And if you choose
I'll be
negativity, then that's what you're going to be living in, negativity. You can't really, you know.
that. And so also with love goes peace comes peace. I was thinking protecting your peace, but
At all
we're talking
costs.
about it chronologically because I
At
feel like
all
you have to
costs.
establish self-love first
Yes.
to know what peace is.
Yes.
Peace is not without love.
Yes.
I don't think. I think all of love is informing all of these things.
Absolutely.
Love informs a good, holistically healthy person.
Yes.
So, yeah, so anyway, right, protecting the peace at all costs, the peace being informed by love, by proper love, you know. I suppose we can talk about Plato's Symposium one of these days, but that, that's just one version, which is probably borrowed or inspired by Kemetic philosophy.
Right.
Emphasis on probably, maybe definitely. So anyway, just knowing how to identify it, it should feel good. It should feel good.
Yeah.
And like I said, I feel like if one is deceptive, one knows one is deceptive. Whether you're deceiving yourself or someone else.
That part.
And then I don't, that the whole, do you sleep well at night? Yeah. How much rest can you actually get before your fear of them finding you out takes over, and before somebody find your ass out? And it all takes energy, because while we're alive, we're expending energy. Otherwise, we're not alive. We're dead spiritually or physically or whatever. While you're expending energy, make it productive, make it conducive to your life and others, like to the well-being of your life and others.
Right.
I'm just saying, if it's all going to be seen as a challenge, choose the less laborious, the less hellacious a challenge.
Yes.
And it should,
And
again,
it
it
should
should
be
feel
reciprocal.
organic and more effortless than not. And like you
Yes.
said, especially with a platonic friendship
Yes.
or romantic, even business though. I mean, business, like, that's capitalism, that's another story. Like, that feels more obligatory. But everything else, and then also with business, you are your own best advocate.
Yes. Absolutely.
And you do have agency, so use it. But also, you can't you can't expect respect without providing it in the first place. You can only command respect if you're giving it in the first place. So respect also comes down to love.
Yes.
It also is informed by love. So I think all these things go together.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Just take a look, at your surroundings. Take a look at your inner being. How are you treating yourself? And question, does this person treat me of how I treat myself? And I'm talking about romantic relationships, friendships. If a person, is, like you said, respect comes a long way. Business relationships, friendships, etc.
Any and all ships.
Yes, any and all ships.
Yes.
The respect has to be there regardless. The kindness have to be there regardless. The love. Like, you don't have to be in love with somebody to love somebody, but you gotta have love. It has to be love there in order to even have respect there. You know what I'm saying? So, like, just be mindful at the end of the day of how you treat yourself and how you treat others and how others treat you. And that goes in a circle. I feel like it's a circle of
Come on, Elton.
busting out in song.
Amen. I do it almost every other episode, so it's about you. You're like, I'm not giving any vocals away for free. And I picked up on it. But everything is interconnected and interrelated. That's why it goes heavy with Buddhism.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely am in line. That philosophy speaks to me the most, in addition to existentialism, but mostly Buddhism, because it does. One of the staples of the school of thought is that everything is interconnected and interrelated. So what you're doing with yourself, you're doing to and for and with other people. Whether you know it or not. And
Whether
I did not.
you know it or not.
I studied that like in sophomore, I think. Well, all of my college, but definitely sophomore year heavy. That's when I had the whole yoga and Buddhism thing together, and I didn't get it at first. I'm like, how does that fuck shit over there that's malicious and malevolent have to do with what I'm doing that's not, or that I call myself doing that's not? And but it is. It is, whether I know it or not, or whether they know it or not. It's a domino effect kind of thing.
It is.
Anything that I'm doing to combat malevolence is something.
Yes.
And it is affecting, like it's basically you have components of an equation, A and B equals C. If A changes a little bit, everything has to change, even if B doesn't change. That's
true.
just that's one of the, I think that's a law of chemistry or physics or something. Anyway, it's a scientific law.
Right.
So if one thing changes, everything changes necessarily.
Right.
Yeah.
And that concludes our episode of self-love, love in general, you know.
This episode, this is
Yeah.
maybe like we said, a parenthetical part 3 to spiritual journeys, but that's an ongoing thing. If you're not, like what Elisa Left Eye Lopez says, if you're not growing, you're dead, kind of thing, figuratively. So we'll probably just be talking about this throughout all of any beside, well, I guess movies too, because movies have
That's
to do
so
with
true.
love, but
Yeah.
that's probably underlying the whole theme of what we are about and what we'll be
Yes.
talking about. You know,
Yes.
if we're carrying light is love too. So
It's so true.
yeah,
It's so true. And I feel like this episode stands out to me, especially because it's a new year. And a lot of us have to realize that we are the light, you know, we are the love. And hopefully this will be a good start of the year to loving yourself. And even though this is a short month, I'm just going to end it with this. Even though it's a short month, February, and you know, people are celebrating love, do something every day for yourself. Like take a walk, meditate, you know, write down something in a journal, listen to your favorite song, do something every day.
dance to your favorite
Dance
song.
to your favorite song, look in the mirror naked and dance, admire yourself, you know,
Journal,
mind, body,
script.
spirit. Yes, do something daily that just shows that you appreciate yourself.
Just for you.
And just for you, nobody else.
Right.
Just do something for you to show appreciation to yourself. If it's a skincare routine, if it's, you know, jogging, like you said, like dancing, whatever. Just do something every day that show that you love yourself.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you for listening to Hush Hush Taboo Talks.
Namaste.
Yes.
Stay loving, y'all.
Bye-bye.